Look what I have for you today. That's right, Parker House rolls. I'm going to make some Parker House rolls for you guys today as promised. I just wanted to come here first, take a little breather before I get started on this long process for today. If you like this recipe and you want more, please log on to my YouTube page and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up for the videos that you like and enjoy the show. Hey guys, Kel's here, and as promised, I'm back with those Parker House rolls. Before I make this recipe, I have to give you guys a disclaimer. These are not my rolls, okay? This is not my recipe. I got this recipe from online. I kept seeing postings of the Parker House rolls on my Facebook page, and it looked so good, I wanted to try the recipe out. So what I did was I went online and Googled the Parker House rolls. I saw a recipe from Bobby Flay, and Bobby Flay is one of my favorite chefs, so I knew the recipe was going to be good, so I tried the recipe out. So just to let you guys know, this is not my recipe. This recipe is Bobby Flay's recipe. If you want this recipe, you have to go into Food Network and search for Bobby Flay Parker House roll recipe, and I'm going to show you how it looks if you guys want it. But I am going to give you an instructional video of how I done my rolls. My technique is a little bit different from his. I guess both ways would be great, but you know, once you start making your own stuff, you kind of go with how you make it. But these are Bobby Flay rolls, so I guess I should get started. So stick around, don't leave, and I'm going to show you how I made them. What you'll need for this recipe is 1.5 cups of milk, 1 stick of butter cut into pieces, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 packet of active dry yeast, 1/2 cup of warm water, 3 large eggs, lightly beaten, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and 6 cups of all-purpose flour. You guys can also use bread flour if you like. What you're going to want to do is you're going to start with your yeast and your water. Make sure your water is warm, and that's 1/2 cup of water. You're going to take that 1 packet of yeast, open it up, and just pour it in your water, okay? Make sure all of the yeast goes in the water, okay? Like so. That's going to be your first step. You don't have to stir it, you don't have to do anything but let it sit and wait for the yeast to start activating. Okay guys, let's talk yeast for a few minutes, okay? You see how the yeast has the foamy rim on the top? That's what you're looking for when you're making your bread. That's how you know the yeast is activated and is ready to go, okay? So don't try to do it too early. This is bread, we're making bread, so there is a process to it. Slow process sometimes. It takes 2.5 to 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours to make. So be patient and make sure that everything is fully done, okay? So you want the foamy top on your yeast, okay? Okay guys, step 2 of the process. You're going to want to put your milk in a saucepan on the stove on medium heat and let it simmer to about here, okay? Till it gets kind of frothy, okay? You're going to want to take and put your stick of butter in, the whole stick. Oh, put the whole stick of butter in and let it melt along with the sugar. You're going to want to stir that in and remove it from the heat. Okay guys, with your dough attachment set on your mixer, you are ready to get started, okay? So let me zoom in a little bit on my bowl. Maybe I should bring it in a little bit too. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going to take my milk mixture and I'm going to go ahead on and put it into my mixing bowl. Okay. To that, I'm going to start on 1 and I'm going to temper these eggs to start. So to temper my eggs, what I do is go ahead on and pour in a little bit at a time, but you don't want to pour a lot in with this being warm, because what happens is it'll start making scrambled eggs. So I just pour it in a little bit at a time, okay? And I pour it in until it's all done. And level 1 seems like it's a little fast, but trust me, it's not. Okay, just keep pouring until you pour it all in. And that's all of my eggs. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pour in my yeast mixture. Okay, this is my yeast mixture. Again, just pour it in slowly. Pour it all in. All that good foamy yeast. Okay? Let it mix all in. Make sure I'm getting all my yeast out, y'all. Okay? Next thing I'm going to want to put in is my salt. I'm going to pour in my salt. I'm ready to put my flour in. So I'm just going to start with little flour at a time. Just a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. Okay, you're going to have some dough that's going to be stuck to the sides, around the edges. So what I normally do is I just cut my mixer off, lift it up, and just pull my dough to the center with a spatula. Close it back up, start my mixer back. Okay? Okay guys, what I did find with Bobby Flay's recipe is, I'll cut this off so you can see it, is that his dough is a little bit loose. I don't like my dough to be that loose. So I'm going to take about half a cup more of flour and put it in, because I'm going to show you guys how I like for my dough to look. Okay? Takes a while to get the feel of how rolls should look, or the dough should look, or the dough should feel. So I'm going to show you guys what I done to make this a little bit more like I wanted it to be. Okay? So about a half a cup more, then cut it off. Okay guys, you're going to make sure that you have a good flour surface so you can knead your dough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dough that's in here, and I am going to pull it all together, and then I'm going to pour it out onto my flour surface. Okay? have a little bit left in there. Okay? So I still have some flour reserved that I'm going to sprinkle on the top. Again, it takes a little bit to get to know what the dough is supposed to feel like. And I'm just going to bring this together and knead until it starts feeling the way I want it to feel. Okay? And it's getting there. You don't want it to be too doughy, and you don't want it to be too dry. Okay? So you don't want to knead too much. Okay? As you can see, it's already beautiful. Funny thing about dough is it smells so good. I don't know if it's the yeast or what it is, but it just smells so good. Okay? That's beautiful. So a little bit more flour. Okay? Look at that. Now I want it tested because I want it to feel a certain way. And it does, it feels good. Okay? So what I have done, guys, is I have lightly buttered my bowl. And I'm going to take my dough and just sit it in the middle of my bowl. Okay? I'm going to take some saran wrap and I'm going to cover it. I'm going to sit it in a warm space and I'm going to let it rise. So it's going to take about an hour or an hour and a half just to let this rise. Okay? So you can sit it on top of your stove where it's kind of warm. If you have an oven that have a proof button on your oven, you can turn on that proof button and just proof it right there, because that's what it is. That's what that's there for. It's to proof your bread. Okay, I do have a proof oven, so I'm going to take mine, I'm going to cover it, put it in my oven and hit proof and just let it proof. Okay, so I'll come back and show you guys how it look once it's finished. Once it rises all the way to the top, it should be about double its size when it's all done, to the top, very top of this bowl. So I'll come back and show you guys how it looks when it's all done. Okay, my dough is ready. See, it's double its size, risen all up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it the big punch. And that's the big punch, y'all. Knock the dough back down. That's your first proof. Now for this dough, you have to proof it twice. So I'm gonna come back and show you how I roll it out into the little rolls and start the second proof process. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna start with my flour surface again. I'm gonna take this dough and pour it out onto my flour surface again. Okay? Then I'm gonna take a tad bit of flour and sprinkle it on top. And I'm going to start working this dough all over again. Remember, this dough has to rise for a second time. Gonna work it again. And it feels so good, y'all. That dough feels so good. So I work it pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start rolling them out into pieces. But before I start doing that, I'm gonna take me a little knife and cut me some pieces out. To start with. Just make it easier for me. You don't necessarily have to do that part, but it just make it easier for me. And I don't like to take up a lot of time rolling them out, but make sure your hand has enough flour on it. Take you a little bit out And to me, what makes mine come out better is just rolling them like that. So let me show you what I have. I have a pan, lightly buttered, and I'm gonna put those rolls on my pan. Okay, so let me roll these out. I'll roll another one for you guys just to show you. And what I do is I just take my hand, make sure it's floured good, and roll it out into a ball and put it on my pan. I'm gonna roll all these up. I'm gonna come back and show you guys how it looks when they're rolled. Okay, so there you have it, guys. I have rolled out all of my rolls. I'm preparing for my second proof. I'm gonna put them back in my oven and proof these guys again until they rise double the size. Should take about another hour or so for me to proof these, and I'll come back and show you guys how they look. Just remember, when you're making these rolls, you make them this size. You're gonna have about 4 or 5 left. You can just put them on another tray, put them in the oven as well. So give it a little time, guys. I'll be back in a few to show you how it looks when they rise. And we're almost there. We're more than halfway through. So see you guys in a few minutes. Back, guys. I pulled my rolls out of my oven. They're proofs, as you can see, that they have doubled in size. So now it's time to preheat my oven at 375 and pop them in so that way I can go ahead and cook them. But if your rolls are looking like this by now, you're doing a good job. You're on the right track. So let me pop these in the oven, and I'm gonna come back when they're all brown and done. Okay, guys, I have just pulled my rolls out of the oven. Look at how they look. They look so good. So I melted a little butter just to put on the tops. So I am going to put my butter on the top of each one of my rolls. Look how delicious they look. And my sister's sitting right here right now because she said she can't wait to get some with her greedy self. But look at how they look. These are Parker House rolls, and they are ready to eat right about now. So I'm gonna finish putting this butter on them. I'm gonna take a couple of pictures of them, and I'm gonna go ahead on and get this video edited so that way I can put it out sometime later tonight or maybe in the morning. Just hold tight, guys, and you will have your Parker House recipe. So, show you how yummy they look. I don't want to drop it, so let me put my hand in the inside. Ooh, put a hole in it. Okay, y'all, Parker House rolls, Carol's way. All right, y'all.